Okay, I want to show you how to do a couple of problems using the magic X technique in case you're having trouble with that and you need a couple more example problems. So the first one that I'm going to work is 6x squared minus 7x plus 2. Okay, first of all, I'm going to try and look for a GCF. And I don't see a GCF, so then I go on to the next step. I'm looking and seeing right now that this is an advanced problem because there's a 6 here. So what I do is I have to start by multiplying the 6 and the 2. That's the number that goes on top of the x. So not the 2, but 6 times 2. And negative 7 goes at the bottom. Then I'm thinking about factors of 12, positive 12 that add up to negative 7. The first thing I know is that they both have to be negative because I have to get a positive number up here and a negative number down here. So factors of 12 that add up to negative 7, it must be negative 3 and negative 4. Okay, now I have my x filled in. Now, because this is an advanced problem, I'm not just going to bring those factors over here and write them down. That wouldn't be correct. It wouldn't be correct to put x minus 3, x minus 4. So what you have to do next is divide each of these numbers by the leading coefficient, which is 6. So I have two fractions, negative 4, 6, and negative 3, 6. Each one of these fractions gets simplified. This becomes negative, I'm going to divide both of these by 2, 2/3, and this one becomes negative 1/2. Okay, these are the numbers that I'm going to use to write my factors. And this is the tricky part because you have to read from the bottom up. So the first factor I see is 2x minus 1. And the second factor I see is 3x minus 2. Okay. I want to check this just to make sure it's right. So these are my factors, but I want to check this by foiling. So I'll do 6x squared, my outer term, my inner term, and my last term, and then combine like terms, and I end up with what I started with, so I know that it works. Okay, I'm going to try another one. I'm going to do 5x squared plus 36x plus 7. Okay, so first I look for a GCF. There isn't a GCF. So I'm next going to decide if this is a standard problem or an advanced problem. This 5 right here tells me this is an advanced problem. So I got to be careful. I'm going to multiply like that. That's the number that goes on top. So 35 and 36. These are both positive numbers. So I need two positives. Factors of 35 that add to 36, it must be 35 and 1. Okay, now because this is an advanced problem, I can't just bring these numbers over here to my factors. I have to divide them by 5. Okay, the fraction 1/5 is already in simplest form. So I'm just going to rewrite that one. That's one of my numbers. And the fraction 35 over 5 is equal to 7. Now, instead of writing 7, I want to write a fraction. I'm going to write 7 over 1 because that's going to help me in a minute when I write my factors. Okay, so I'm ready. Write my factors. So this one over here, 1 and 7, this tells me 1x plus 7. Notice it's a positive number, so it's going to be plus 1x plus 7. You can write 1x plus 7, or you can just write x plus 7. And over here, 5x plus 1. Those are my factors. And I'm going to check it. 5x squared, outer term, inner term, and last term. And combine the like terms in the middle. Looks good. Okay. All right, I'm going to do one more. Oops, my camera's all messed up. Okay. My last problem that I'm going to work is 8x squared minus 2x minus 6. Okay, first thing I see is that this one does have a GCF, so I've got to start by factoring that out as 2. Okay, so I'll do 2, 4x squared minus x minus 3. Have to do the GCF first if there is one. Okay, now I'm looking at what's in the parentheses, and this is also an advanced problem because of that 4. So my next step is to multiply these, negative 12, 4 times negative 3, and this is really negative 1x, right? So I'm going to put negative 1 on the bottom. Factors of negative 12 that add up to negative 1. 1 has to be positive and 1 negative. It's negative 4 and positive 3. Now, because it's an advanced problem, I can't just take these numbers and bring them over here. It wouldn't be correct. So I've got to go through and divide these by the leading coefficient, which is 4. That's why I'm dividing by 4. Okay, 3/4 is in simplest form, so I'll just rewrite it over here. Negative 4 over 4 is really negative 1. But again, I want to write that as a fraction. So I'll write negative 1 over 1. That's going to help me later when I write my factors. Okay, so come over here. Don't forget the GCF is going along for the ride. And I'll do 4x plus 3. 4x plus 3. Remember, this is just a trick, right, for figuring out the factors. This whole magic x is just a trick. So that you just have to know that you look at the denominator first and then the numerator. It's kind of weird, but 4x plus 3. And then over here, again, I had to write this one as a fraction, negative 1 over 1. So that becomes 1x minus 1. So that's x minus 1. And I'm going to check it. 4x times x is 4x squared. Outer, inner, and last. Combine the like terms. Whoops, I'm losing you. Combine the like terms, and then I'm going to distribute 8x squared minus 2x minus 6. That's correct. So this here, this is my factored form, okay? Now, one more little comment about something like this. Make sure if it's a negative number that you put the negative sign in the numerator, because you always want to have your denominator to be a positive number, so this becomes 1x minus 1 instead of negative x plus 1. So, okay.